This is my truck. That's our engine. It's a 352. Again, if you've seen some of our videos, we've talked about that. But with the hurricane that hopefully you've seen, we're unfortunately looking at a seized motor right now. You can see some of the rust on there. I drained it out. I put new oil in it. I was turning it every day or so, but it just eventually seized up on me. So it is what it is. It was hydrolocked. You can see the water came up. It came up to about this level right here. So we got water all in it, all that stuff. There's a video about all that maybe you've seen, but if not, yeah, it was full of water. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and take this this valve cover off. Like I said, I've already taken those plugs out. It was hydrolocked. We've rotated it, you know, by hand. Couldn't turn it with the starter because that was fried. Just within a few days after the hurricane, it got seized up. Even though, like I said, I turned it, tried to get all the water and stuff out of it, tried to get new oil back in it, turned it by hand, all that stuff, but yeah, it just it seized up. So what I'm gonna do is take this valve cover off right now and see what's under there. We'll see where we can go. I really don't know how bad stuff is. I might pour some more marble material in it. See if I can take the oil pan off. Look, just try to see what's what, but it's all seized up right now. So we're gonna start with taking the valve cover off. Probably get one of those little cameras so we can look down in there. Sorry, our chickens coming in to say hey, but we'll see where we go. But step one of the investigation to see what's going on is we're gonna take the valve cover off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and come back at you and show you what's inside of there. Okay, all right, everybody, back with you. So what we'll do is look down in here and you can see pretty easily. Let me get my light up high here, but there you go. So this is all the way up on the top of the motor. You've got all this rust. It's not back there as bad. That actually looks fine. But as you come up to the front, especially here, I don't know why there more than anywhere else. This is actually where I poured the oil in, so I don't know why that's worse than other places, but there's definitely oil. There's down in there. Quite frankly, that part doesn't look super bad. Huh. I almost feel like I just need to pour some on there. I mean, overall, it doesn't look super bad, other than that rust right up on top. But everywhere else doesn't look real bad. Push rods actually look fine. Lifters might be an issue, but okay, nothing looks super crazy. That's just weird that this front one right here looks like it does. And it gets better as it goes back. I don't see a ton of rust on the block itself. So, well, that's that. I'll probably take the other side off and take a look at it, see what it looks like. But I don't know. I don't see anything right there that's telling me why the thing won't move. But I can also now pour some like mystery oil and stuff, spray some WD-40, like all right on top of that. I'll probably pour some down in there, so we can see, we can free this thing up. But I'm afraid I'm gonna have to get in down at the oil pan and spray some stuff on the crank. But well, that's what we got right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the valve cover back on this. Take the other side off. I just want to make sure nothing gets in here and everything. But I'll put the valve cover back on just loosely, and and we'll have to go from there and see what we do. Okay, that's that. All right, went in, jumped over here and took off the other side. I just laid it up there because it's still got that hose connected to it, and I'm gonna put it right back on. But you can see this side looks very similar to the other. More rust in the front, less rust in the back. I don't know why. Seems like it should be the same across the board, but it isn't. So again, what I want to do here is I'm going to spray some WD-40 and stuff on this. Spray it all down in there on the lifters and everything, just to coat this, try to stop the rust from getting any worse, and move on from there. But again, I mean, there's some surface rust on the top of these rockers, but I'm not seeing a bunch of rust anywhere else. I don't think anything up here really looks like it's like rusty on any of the moving, like the parts that need to move up and down or any of that other stuff. So anyway, so spray WD-40 and go from there. Not sure what next. Maybe a camera down the cylinders. Although I've poured oil, mystery oil, sprayed WD-40, all that stuff down the cylinders and rotated the motor still. So that was before it seized up. I did all that. So hopefully the cylinders aren't bad, but we'll look in there next. It's probably the thing to do. And then oil pan off and look at the crank, but probably the last step. But anyway, WD-40 all over that, down there where the lifters are and everything. And then put this back on so nothing else gets in there. All right, when I left you on this truck, I told you I was probably gonna go get a camera or something to look in the spark plug holes. Here's what I've decided. It's seized, it's gotta be rebuilt anyway, pulled apart, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna work on taking the motor out. So, I mean, we got the lift, we got the stand, we got all the stuff. So that's what we're doing. Made a decision. We're gonna dive in. Tear this thing apart, get it rebuilt. This thing's ready to go to the engine shop anyway, so we're going to pop this sucker off of here and get it dropped off at the engine shop so they can do the block, talk to them about the head, and then we'll take the head back up there later for the BMW. But we're going to go ahead and move this off of there so we can get this thing hoisted up out and get it on the engine stand. And crack her apart, see what the deal is with what, send it off, whatever we need to, and we're gonna get this thing running again. So that's the goal. But yeah, we're not gonna bother with cameras and stuff. We're just gonna crack her open and see what the damage is in there. So anyway, I'm gonna drain some fluids, that kind of stuff, get ready to start working. But yeah, I'm gonna drain the oil, drain the coolant, disconnect all that stuff. Just a few wires, things like that. This is not like a modern car. This thing will come out pretty easy. Just a few wires, a few hoses, and a couple bolts, and we'll get her out of there. But at the same time, that'll give us the opportunity to clean out this engine bay, maybe respray some stuff. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But that sucker's coming out, and we're going to rip her apart, see what happened inside of there. We'll document all that, and then we'll work on getting her back together. So there we go. It's coming out. All right, everybody, we're back at it again today. Been cleaning up the garage some, doing some other chores around the house, but now we're back to this thing. As you can see, I got it jacked up. Didn't even move the jack out of the way, plus a little extra safety, but we got it up on jack stands. What we went after was the draining the coolant. So you can see we've disconnected the hoses that go to the water pump, the top one and the bottom one. I also, probably need my light a little bit more over here, but we disconnected the two heater hoses. So you can hopefully see, heater hose goes right there. That's the upper hose, and then back in there in the middle, that's where the other heater core hose goes. So we did that, drained the oil. Here's all my fluids. You can see that. It pretty much looks like green coolant, so no issues there. This though, that was brand new oil I put in there, and it is a mixture of oil and water. So I drained the oil or the water out of the engine. Then I put new oil in it, and then I turned it. So I'm wondering, I think maybe when I turned it by hand, it moved some more water around someplace that didn't drain the first time, but that right there is a mixture of water and oil, even though I had drained the water before. So maybe that's the answer to why it was turning and then it locked up, because it still had some water in it. But we're gonna get to work on the next step. I'm probably gonna go ahead and take that fan off right there as the next thing, and then maybe the water pump. I don't know. We'll see what I get off of there, but we're gonna work on that and get the fan off first. Maybe the water pump. But really, that's some of the harder stuff. Well, not the harder stuff, but some of the stuff is already done. Really, there's a couple wires that I need to disconnect. Like from the alternator and stuff. I'll probably take the alternator off of the engine before I hoist it up. You know, then you just got to pull the carb, the exhaust, a couple wires, and then this thing will be ready to hoist. So it should come out fairly easy. Get to work on that and get it done here, so we can get it on the engine stand and start working on the disassembly and figure out where all the rust is. So I'm gonna go get some food and then come back at it. All right, showed you got the fluids out and stuff. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take stuff off the top here. So we're gonna get the breather off. I'm gonna work on getting the carburetor off, and then to block that up, I went and got this plate. Just picked it up at O'Reilly's. It's like $18 or something like that, 20 bucks, whatever. So, all right, everybody, quick update. One thing I pulled off right here. This hose goes down to the fuel filter. So that came off because that goes to the carb. PCV hose right here, that went right there. There was a vacuum hose that goes from right here over here to the vacuum advance. So that's this hose right here. Those came off. I took the nuts off of all four corners there. I just dropped them down right there because I'm going to use them again, so they're just sitting right there. And then the throttle cable. So there is a little screw or bolt nut right there. So that goes in right there. There's a hole for that somewhere over there. Anyway, so that goes in there, and then so I took that off, put the nut right back on it so I can find it. And then there's a bracket right there, which it's those two bolts that you're looking at right there. So I took those bolts out and then put them right back so I can find them. The only thing that's not still here is the throttle spring, which I took that off and stuck in a little baggie over there where I'm starting to make the parts pile for this thing. So carb's ready to come off. So we'll go ahead and pop that off and get our plate on. All right, carb's off, it's over there. They did have a little spacer on it, gasket, all that stuff. Pulled that off, dropped this on there. I was gonna run these bolts down. I put some washers and stuff, but as you can see, especially on that bolt, there's some like blue Loctite or something on there. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know, I have to look at it closer. I'm not gonna stall on that right now because I don't need that bolted down just yet. I'm gonna move on to the next things, which is taking this fan off and get that out of the way. Maybe the water pump. Don't know. Probably the water pump, but I'm gonna go with the fan next. All right, one more step done, moving along. Here's your fan. Just 4 1/2-inch bolts on the front there. You see they gotta come out about that much. Those bolts go through the fan, through the pulley, and then into the other half of the fan belt system. There's your one fan belt on this truck because all you have is an alternator. There's no power, nothing. So there you go. On the water pump is where those 4 bolts go. I did loosen the alternator just so it would slide over and take the tension off the belt. But that's it. We are done with that. So now when we hoist the motor, we don't have to worry about busting up the brand new radiator that we have. Anyway, that's all done. Also an update on that. I did the front right, and you can see it goes all the way down. That is a threaded stud the whole way. The other ones are they're threaded on each end with no threads right in the middle of them. So that's why the nuts won't go down. And I'm gonna have to get some different studs or some bolts. Probably just go get some bolts, make things easier. But anyway, there you go. That's that step done. I don't know, let me see what I come up with next. You'll have to come back and keep watching here to see what's next. All right, I decided to go after the alternator. These are the last wires really that are going to the motor. So I'm gonna get these off, but you can see if you look down there, so the bottom connections are all rusty. That top connection is not, and you can kind of see where the water line was on the alternator. So that top connector did not get salt water on it, whereas those bottom ones down there did. So that shows you what salt water will do. So anyway, I'm going to disconnect all these and I'll pull the wire over here to the side and move on to the next thing. Okay, so for those of y'all that are paying attention, the alternator's gone. I had to undo the bottom bolt in order to get some ground wires undone. So you can see that's all the wires that go to the alternator, and that also ground on that bottom bolt. And then the bracket is right here. That's held in by those two bolts with the weird looking heads on them. They're just regular bolts, but I don't know. They, for some reason, have those like indentions and stuff on them. But anyway, since that bracket's just kind of hanging out there and it's going to catch on stuff and make me say bad words, I'm going to go ahead and pull that off too, set it over there with the alternator. So that's that. We're going to keep on moving. Okay, everybody, now we're under the truck. I'm going to start working on getting the trans out of this thing. So there's a starter for reference. I'm looking at the motor kind of from the front, but here's the lower bell housing cover. It's just for what should be 1/2-inch bolts, because that one, and the one over there are. This one is a random 9/16. So somebody was just pulling bolts out of their scrap bin. But anyway, we're going to get these out and pull that off and get that out of the way. Okay, everybody, we got that lower plate off, and oof. So you can see the flywheel, that's all rusty. But look in there. I mean, good grief. That was all underwater, so that got all rusty and everything. I mean, those are yellow springs, so that's not rust, but everything else is rust. Holy crap. I mean, the clutch was still working, and you could put it in and out of gear and all that stuff, but definitely rusty in there, and more stuff that we're gonna have to do something about. But anyway, it's a big reveal for what was in there. And now we can move forward with getting the old trans off, which luckily isn't super big. It's a 3-speed, but we're gonna go ahead and work on getting that off now. Okay, all right. Before you can get the transmission out, you gotta get rid of this old draft shaft. So anyway, you can see right here, those are your two retaining, I guess U-bolt looking things. 1/2-inch nuts, take those out. Those U-bolt things slide out of the way, and then you can push the drive shaft forward. You know, pull this apart, and that drive shaft's just hanging here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'll pull it all the way out. I just wanted to pause at that point after I cleaned my fingers, so I could grab the camera and show you this. But yeah, we're just gonna get the drive shaft out, and then we'll stick it over there with the rest of the parts. On to the next step. All right, moving on. The next thing I did was disconnect the old gear shift here. Remember, this used to be a column shift. You can still see the remnant right there. But somebody did this floor shifter conversion on it. Anyway, just 2 bolts there. I think they were 9/16. But yeah, just unscrew the little rubber thing there that was kind of in bad shape anyway. 2 bolts. Comes right out, so that's out of the way now. So as we move the trans, we won't have to worry about that big old shifter. Next. All right, folks, here we go. I put my plastic bag with a rag in it right up there. Zip tied that on so that that'll quit dripping. I drained the trans. Now what I'm going after is this right here. We're gonna go ahead and take that off. I have already taken, working my light here, one-man band today. So you can see that bolt right there in the middle of your screen. It's gone there, and if you look up there, I already took it out. So basically that's the only one I left in. It's I can take it out with my finger, but I went ahead and did those 4 bolts. I just left that one in just until I'm ready to get my jack under here and start doing stuff. What I'm gonna do now is go ahead and take that bolt out, because you can see that's what holds the trans mount to this cross member. Then I'll get my impact and pull these 2 bolts here, and then that way I can jack up the trans a little bit. Go ahead and swivel this cross member out of the way, just twist it once I can pick it up enough to clear that little bracket. And then I should be able to take that last bolt out and then work on moving the trans backwards and get it out of the bell housing and get it down out of the way. So that's my plan. I ain't never done this before. Watched some stuff on YouTube. Seems logical. I don't know, maybe I'm screwing it up. You'll see, but that's my plan. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, thanks to my Christmas present, this thing is awesome. Tons of power on it. We were able to get these bolts here. So these are the cross member bolts. You have to hold them from the top and from the bottom. So I got my breaker bar and used the frame rail as a brace, put a socket on it and all that, so then I could just go ugga on the well, it's not really an air gun, but anyway, on the impact. And then that's the trans mount bolt that goes through the cross member. So all that stuff is out now. I'm going to go ahead and work on setting up my my jack under here and everything, and see if I can work on getting this trans out from underneath. You can see we knocked some more clay loose and stuff. If you've been watching this, it was raining on me. But we had tons of clay under this because where it was parked in the barn was a clay floor. And yeah, so it's everywhere under there. But anyway, go ahead and get my jack set up and all that, and then see if we can work on moving this trans out of here. All right, everybody, before I can pull the trans, the last thing I do is get that speedo cable out right there. So it's just that bolt right there in the middle of the screen. I'll move the light around, there you go. Just undo that bolt. I think it's a 1/2 inch, but anyway, undo that. And you should be able to pull the speedo cable out of the way, and it should be the last thing connecting the trans to the truck. All right, everybody, so that right there is your speedo cable. So that when it comes out, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna get a plastic bag and I'll put over that so that that's good. And then you should be able to see right there in the middle, that is the screw that you got to take out. Let me try to focus in on that. There you go. So that's the screw that you got to take out. I just put it back in there so that way I don't lose it. But then yeah, there you go. That's the speedo thing. So anyway, bag that up. That was easy. And it was actually 7/16, not a 1/2, is what worked on mine. I decided I was going to go ahead and take these bolts out. They're just under here. They're 3/4 inch. There's one on each side. That way I can get this cross member out of here, because I feel like the engine maybe is rocked back a little bit, and so the bottom of the trans is separating from the bell housing, but the top seems like it's not wanting to come loose. So I'll get this cross member out, support it with my jack. I'll probably swivel that around so that it's going straight back, and then I'll be able to grab the trans and wiggle it back and all that, and see if I can get it out. Probably get my son down here too to help with another pair of hands. But when I come back at you, the trans will be on the floor one way or another. Well, I lied to you last time. Trans is not all the way out, but I got this cross member out. This is the other piece of it that holds up, the brace that sits on top of here. You can see inside of there's a metal piece. So that's all that. Now, that is not supposed to be something that came off. So this is the driver's side top corner of the trans. So that's broken. That doesn't look super fresh. I mean, I had all the bolts out of it, so there's no way I broke it. And basically, as soon as I started to pull the trans away from the bell housing, it just fell out. So I think whoever was messing with this truck before knew that was broke, and they basically pinched it up in there with the trans up against the bell housing. So it looked like it was good, but it wasn't. And then you can see here is we've got the trans, you know, part way out. I'm waiting on my helper so I can put 2 hands on it, but it's most of the way out. Just that last little bit, I just need a 3rd hand, and then we'll be all set. So next time it'll be out. Okay, I told you. When I came back this time, it was going to be out, so it's out. Got my son down here to help be a 3rd hand and pull the jack while I had 2 hands on this thing to stabilize it, because we don't have like a real trans jack. But anyway, here's the problem. So I showed you that before. You can see on here that that's rusty inside of there. So that's been that way. Now, if you look right over here, that is also cracked. Let me get a better light on it. Okay, so there's a little better light, and I think you can tell that's already cracking too. So that's, you can feel it with your hand. So I think I might have to get on the old marketplace, see if I can find myself another trans. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, this was just step 1. You know, big thing getting this out of the way so we can get to the motor. You can see the other rust that's down here. You can see there where that's rusty. So, yeah, I was not expecting this problem, but I guess we just got to deal with it. So we'll see what we can do with the trans department when I get on the marketplace. But it is what it is. So we're gonna go push this underneath the parts rack over there and move on to the next step of getting this motor out. It was unbolted here from the manifold to the last thing we got to disconnect is this clutch mechanism here. So we'll go ahead and do that through the wheel well. I'll show you that. Where that is, you just take off one bracket and then this whole Z-bar, which I did a video on how to rebuild that, and that's why that looks nice and black and all that, because it was rebuilt previously. But anyway, I got to take that off, and then that is the last thing connecting the motor to the truck other than the engine mounts. So yeah, let me get that off. So I'll start out here so you got reference. We're in the driver's side wheel well. Come in here, you can see that nice top to our new shock. But just behind that on the frame rail are these 2 things right here. That is the bracket that holds the Z-bar in. So I'm just gonna get those 2 bolts off. They're like capture nuts on the back, so you don't even, just need to get your ratchet and take those out, and that'll remove the bracket, and then that'll let the Z-bar come all the way out. So that's it. So I'm gonna get that out, and I'll show you that once I got it out. All right, folks. So we've gotten the that Z-bar thing off. That's down there. We just took the bracket off, and that allowed us to move the Z-bar over. It's still connected to the pedal because I don't care about that. You can kind of see it down there too. I just need it disconnected from the engine, which it is. Kind of resting there on the exhaust pipe that's going to stay in the truck too. So that, and then fuel, disconnected that, pinched it off with the old vice grips there. So that's all set, ready to go. And then disconnected off of the starter solenoid the starter cable. I just didn't feel like crawling back under to try to get it off of the starter itself. But so this thing's all prepped and ready to go. So I'm gonna stop this video on this and ask you to come back, I don't know, in a week, maybe something. We'll see. But come back and we'll have another video on actually extracting this thing out of the truck. So we'll see how all that goes. Might have to take the hood off, might not. I don't know. Never done this before, so we'll figure it out. But we're getting close to 750 subscribers, so just need a few more. That'll be a good goal for us, or you know, good milestone for us there. Even though we're not really doing it for money, it's just kind of one of the things you know, that we just enjoy doing. But anyway, if you could subscribe, come back, check out the next video, we'd appreciate it. Got more stuff coming up with the E30 soon. You can see it's peeking out there. More with the truck. Just a bunch of stuff coming up. You know, this is our truck we got. So we'll see. There'll be more and more stuff coming as we work on this. But yep, that's all for now. The engine's prepped, ready to go. Only thing holding it in there is some motor mounts. So we're gonna have to back this up, get the crane, hoist, whatever you want to call it, and get everything going so we can try to get that thing out of there. So, all right, come back and see us on the next episode.